Hi, hello, welcome to Space Couch. My name's Brian. I think we're good. I think we're good. All right. Space Couch is a go. Here's. I've been working on a new sign-on. It's going to be either call the ships to Davenport or salutations from the station. I think I'm going to go with call the ships to Davenport. My guest today is. I don't even. I'm words are failing me because of how important this person is to me. Giant influence, great friend, giant rock star. Oh man. Oh, all right. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. As promised, Mr. Zoom Von Rock. What is up, buddy?
And I'm not naked.
You-
Well, I kind of am under my clothes. We're all naked under our clothes. Let's think about that for a minute. Brian, it's such an honor to be on the Space Couch.
Oh well, welcome to space, all the way from Los Angeles. I know it was.
Los Angeles, California.
Like I always say, it's costing billions of dollars to beam this signal into trillions into the space station they have set up in Boston, out here into the cosmic void. Oh,
Spirit for the cosmic void.
I mean, you're kind of from there anyway. Like I've always felt you've had a little bit of space alien.
Well, yeah, I mean, like the Earth is flat, Australia doesn't exist, and it's all the cosmic void.
Getting controversial off the bat, man.
Let's go.
Let's really blow the lid off this flat Earth thing.
Well, I think it's all a giant conspiracy, and I just don't care.
Woo!
Just something up, and we're gonna rock with it.
All right. Okay. Awesome. So, Australia doesn't exist. Let's get that out of the way. And I had the opportunity to. Actually, I'm a little bit old. This is not my first episode, but like I'm so happy to talk to you. When last we spoke, I got the chance to meet up with you in Pasadena, and that was great. We went shopping for records, and you bought off the wall. Like,
I bought off the wall.
Wait, like industrial super shopping date, and you buy Michael Jackson's Off the Wall on vinyl. I thought that was dope as fuck.
On the train on the way home, a guy looked at me, and then he looked at the head off the wall, and he goes, "Good choice." And I went,
"Yeah, awesome." So you are obviously most well known for ANGELSPIT, second only to Hardcore Bong. I'm kidding. You're going hard on the fantastic newness for Ms. Ballistic.
Yes.
Tell me about that. That's exciting.
Pretty cool. It's basically I'm helping produce an album for a bunch of girls, and it's pop. It's electronic pop music for girls. Nice. And the concept behind it is it's a beauty pageant where they all kill each other whenever somebody else wins the tiara. And the lyrics are very empowering for young ladies, and it's very empowering for girls. I'm really proud of it. It's good.
Okay.
And the beats are funky as hell, and I'm pretty proud of it. And we've recruited some vocalists from LA, and they are so good. Well,
that's one of the things I've always found fascinating about you. Like, for those of you that don't know, Carl has been super influential for the last couple Gothicals albums, and so I'm like, okay, so I kind of want like Seco sound or a Suicide Commando sound, and you're like, well, yeah, but what do you think about Bootsy Collins? And I'm like, well, what? Like, and you're like, you're going on like James Brown and Lionel Richie, and I'm like, all right, and then it turned out to be like the best albums I've done. What's that?
Yeah, I'm supposed to talk about the Lionel Richie thing.
Well, with the that's with the clapping for
Yeah. That was also P-Funk did that, and so did Sly and the Family Stone. So the clapping is at the end of the song, everyone stands around a microphone and claps.
Right.
And goes, woo! Yeah. Kick it up. Woo!
Right.
Yeah. And it turns the recording into a party. So you slip the track, the clap track in under the whole thing, and it just adds this funk.
It's great,
and it's fun.
It's a move I would have never done. That's audible on the Godsicles. This particular one is on This Club Is Closed. But that was such an outside of the box thinker, and you can there's a little bit of like you can hear that in like Less Wardrobe, More Malfunction, the Ballistic track that's out now, and that's kind of like the way the rest of the Ballistic stuff is going.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all very, very pop, and what's funny is that because I have like allowed myself to do this, ANGELSPIT's become harder.
Okay.
It's become really hard, really dark.
Meaning.
It's become ferocious, brutal, and vicious. And you're on the Patreon, so you're hearing the tracks are getting faster and darker, and the lyrics are getting darker. And that's got a lot to do with Miss Ballistic allowing me to get to relieve myself of the funk.
Interesting. So it's like it's this Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing almost. Don't let me put words in your mouth, but you've got this.
And
go on.
Go.
Oh, I was just gonna. Like, because from what I've heard of Miss Ballistic, it's not sugary sweet, but it's got that sort of like the la 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 la, like the defibrillator kind of part is there, and then you're just going full.
Well, it's really fun because I researched a lot of EDM music for this one. And I looked at what they were doing with their synthesizers, and it's kind of cool.
Okay.
And so a lot of it is me playing with the Moog, like really pushing the Moog and seeing how far we can twist. It's a Voyager, seeing how far we can twist the Voyager. And Voyagers are awesome because you can twist them. They're great.
And we love Voyagers here in space. So
we do. And it was really nice to like put the onus, the importance is on really simple bass lines that get pushed and become chaotic, and really sweet melodies that have got really dark lyrical undertones. And there's a lot of chord movements that are very they're sinister. So when you listen to it, this is Miss Ballistic. Okay. You listen to it and you go, there's something under this pop, there's something really dark going on.
Awesome.
It's fun. It's really fun. And I got a vocalist in LA named Maze, and she's amazing. She is amazing. She's actually ex-Disney.
That's awesome.
Wales. This girl sings. Another girl named Cell. And she's got a voice like Amy Winehouse, so she's got a blues voice.
Awesome.
And pop divas. And Cell just kills it. And I was so happy with it. I was really happy with it. Also, Carly G's on it for 2 tracks. And I'm really happy. It's turned out to be therapeutically fun.
Awesome. I'll be jumping in a little bit just to give some shout back to the comments that I'm getting from YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. Big ups to Science Fiction in the house. Peel Brigade is here. Ivardensphere is here. What's up, Scott?
Scott, you and me owe each other a remix.
You heard it here first. It happened on the couch. So Ballistic's got a couple of vocalists, and when are you working towards like an album?
Yeah. Okay. The album is 10 tracks. We did the photo shoot.
Oh, cool.
About last weekend. Yeah, last weekend in Milwaukee. The album's been delayed because we were waiting on the photo shoot. The blizzards in Milwaukee have been so bad that the photographer, hair stylist, makeup, lighting, and model couldn't get there.
Oof.
They couldn't get together. So we did it the other week. I'm really happy with it. And that's all coming together now. And it's going to get hopefully kickstarted, hopefully by the end of the month.
Awesome.
Yeah, 10 tracks, no remixes, just 10 tracks, 10 really fun, solid tracks. And I'm really excited about it. It's funny that I've always thought, could I make ANGELSPIT? Actually, it sort of sounds like ANGELSPIT mixed with hardcore pong.
Awesome.
Because hardcore pong's got that sort of gritty 8-bit thing, but it's also got that kind of that club feel to it. Miss Ballistic's similar, and I've always wanted to do something that I could use to pull young people into the fold with. You know, it could be the beginnings of their downward spiral.
So, oh man,
I had it. Sorry. Yeah, I didn't mean that.
Well,
but.
I want to push this like an animal. So, like, people should go to missballistic.bandcamp.com.
Yes. Also missballistic.com, but missballistic.bandcamp.com, and you can get a free download of More Wardrobe, Less Malfunction, and the whole thing will be up there in a month or two.
Awesome, month or two, and that Kickstarter that hasn't started yet. That Kickstarter will start.
No,
okay,
hopefully within the end of the month.
All right, so be on the lookout, Space Skateers. I just did that. We'll see if it sticks. Oh man, this is like hardcore pong, except we're not doing shots every 2 seconds.
I'm drinking coffee. Are you drinking coffee?
I cracked open a black cherry seltzer and may go to coffee later today.
So healthy. I'm drinking decaf. Like, we're so fucking healthy. It's good. This.
I cracked open decaf earlier today, man. Like, I know after coming from the gym, you would have touched on this a bit. Like, you are the segue master. This is gonna be easy because I am an ANGELSPIT. Despite us being personal friends, I'm an ANGELSPIT fan until the end of days, and I was going to ask you about like what the next sort of phase of your sound for Spit is.
All right. Well, I just finished an experiment on the Patreon with synthwave.
Okay.
Because when you say to me synthwave, I think Vangelis or Vangeli. Right. Vangeli Poponiathu is actually his name. I think Vangeli, and I think Icehouse, and I think what is called synthwave now, I don't call that. John Fox, Gary Newman, mainly John Fox, and obviously Joja. That to me is synthwave. So I wanted to experiment with that, and I put all those tracks on the Patreon, and that finished around about December. December was the last drop of the synthwave stuff. I really want to release that as an album, but
I would.
That's coming. Yeah, that's coming.
It's great.
And it was a fun experiment, and I really liked it. And because I was listening back to it, and the songs, they sound like an album. And Patreon's awesome because normally I will work on 2 or 3 tracks at a time, then forget about them, work on another few.
Right.
So a track takes me 2 years to write.
Oh, really? 2 years?
18 months to 2 years, because I'm always going back, and so everything has got to be ready at the same time. That's my weird head. And the Patreon, basically, it's you have to write a track in a month now.
Okay.
And I really like. And the new thing that's happening since January, the second drop was only the other day, was really hard. Back to the like really fucking bang bang clang clang fuck you ANGELSPIT stuff. So I'm working at getting fast, darker. I've got a bunch of guitar stuff that's going on there as well. It's really, I'm getting back into really ferocious music.
Awesome.
So it's fun. I'm getting serious just for a moment.
Sure.
I'm in an area of my life where I'm really angry.
Right.
And partly the climate, the political climate, but a lot of things have made me explosively mad.
Right.
And just gone, like, for example, you can't really swear anymore in a track, because iTunes will go, it's got swearing in it. So yeah. Same with Spotify. Yeah. A lot of playlists, tracks won't get added to it if you swear. And I want my music to be heard, and I want people to hear my music. But I've sort of hit this point recently where I've gone, fuck it. I'm as mad as hell, and I'm going to do something about it. And it's funny that I saw Network, the movie I just quoted, like only recently, and it just blew my mind. It's like shit hasn't changed, and shit isn't going to change. And it's healthy for music to be a vehicle of protest and anger. And so yeah, I'm just like I'm getting into really fucking brutal music again.
Well, that's fantastic. Like, I got into this with Donna a little bit when Ego was on. Like, if that's the way you feel, then what else would you write about? Like I think that's gonna come through rather than like, I gotta get into this character again, and like, okay, what rhymes with ninja or whatever, and so like if this is what you're actually feeling with that sort of emotional jetpack coming from sort of getting all this out, like the sort of the other side of it out with Ballistic, like when do you foresee that being shown to the world? Like, I mean, is that Patreon or what?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what's happening with the really distorted, angry shit is that's now on Patreon. That's being the monthly thing on Patreon is getting angrier. So that's patreon.com/ANGELSPIT. And it's there's also videos and stuff on there. And I think it's a similar thing with the videos as well, as I'm wanting to. Back to the question. So I'll build it up on the Patreon, then I will probably release it as an album down the road. So if you want to hear what's going on right now, get on the Patreon.
Get on that Patreon.
And the videos, because I also do a video with the Patreon, and
they're great. They're great.
Yeah, thank you. I really want to encourage people to make art and to not give up, because I believe that our society is increasingly telling us to just sit back, relax, watch Netflix, give up.
And that's been quick shout out to Walt Watts. What's up, Keith Jones? Walter. Yeah, what's up, Walt? What's up, Ashes? That's amazing, and that has always been your mantra from like day one. It's, if you remember when we just sort of met for coffee in Chicago,
yeah.
We got into that conversation about just keep going, and nobody, like in the questions I sent you earlier, I phrased it thusly, like you have a jet engine in your heart, like you, and take this in the spirit in which is intended. You bring on a lot of elective misery, meaning like you have 18,000 projects going at once. Be it this Patreon, you run a label. But shout out to Black Pill, Red Pill Records.
I'm wearing May May's t-shirt right now.
What's that t-shirt?
This is May May Graves. May May. I just did his EP, and it's awesome. Go on.
Slago's on that. Could you? I had to move you. Could you back up a second on from your chair, from the camera? There you go, dude. Perfect. We do a project called Hardcore Pong. You started this thing in Chicago that I think's still going, of industrial bands doing like music overs to instrumental tracks.
Yes.
I didn't say that well at all. I got excited. To scoring silent movies. We did, of course, Nosferatu, that spun off into another band called Noiseferatu.
We toured that.
Yeah. The Gothsicles did Wolf Blood, which ended up being like one of the best things, like just experiences in my life.
The turnout for that was crazy.
It was crazy, and like a full moon came out, like because we did it outside. And like it's Chicago, so the weather could have turned at any second, and it was just great. But that's all because you gave a shit. Like there was that weird little Bo Peep house across from in the park, like where you lived, and we like that was never not there. like, because all of us in Chicago just like drove by it, and you actually went and discovered this whole art world.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm doing all this is like, where where do you think this drive uh, comes from in you? Like the most miserable I think you could be is if you just had to sit down and like play a video game or something. Like you've always
Yeah.
got to be going. Could you speak to that a bit, or is there even a thought to it?
Yeah. No, I am motivated by. I had a desk job for 5 years, and it was good. We got great stuff done. I worked for the Department of Health in New South Wales in Sydney, and it was really excellent because we brought about change and helped people access health, and I'm very proud of that. But it killed me,
Right.
and I I sort of came out of that where knowing that it doesn't matter how much I'm being paid. I will not, I can't, I couldn't do that. And it all came about actually. ANGELSPIT had a gig in New Zealand, and we went to see the Lord of the Rings permanent exhibition at Te Papa big museum in Wellington. And I was in a room where the two guys that drew all the illustrations, there was like maybe 5 drawings high and 300 or 400 around the room. So do the maths. That's several thousand drawings that were incredibly detailed. And I just looked at this going, what the fuck am I doing with my life? Like,
really?
Yeah. And it was,
I've never heard this story.
Yeah. I can't, I've got to, I think it's really important to document what's going on. And it's important. It's funny that, ANGELSPIT now, I think people are, everything's changed and we've all grown up, and under our white button-down shirts, there's tattoos, and there's still a lot of anger and frustration. And I feel increasingly that my job is to remind people that connection with their fiery youth is relevant and it's still needed, and people need to express that to young people, and we need to inspire and encourage young people to burn a drum machine or smash a mic or destroy a guitar for themselves to talk about what's going on. Because and it's not, sure, the time we're in is kind of very confusing and pretty shitty, but it's also that there is always going to be this frustration. Like, it doesn't matter how beautiful and pure everything is, people are still going to hate their jobs. Mm-hmm. And people are still going to be wondering every day, what am I doing with my life? So I think it's important to document, encourage, and to empower people on the channel that they have been listening to their whole life, like that bandwidth of rock. And that's why the thing I love about goth industrial EBM culture is that the audience aren't going away. When we're all 70, we're still going to be into it. And no matter how much we're no longer forward or front about that, we don't have the crazy hair or the new rock, we're still going to be at heart tied to this community. It will always be there.
Okay.
And that anger and that point of frustration and that importance of community will also need to be there. So it's my job, it's your job, and it's the job of all of us to just keep doing it. So that did not answer your question at all.
I love it though.
Sideline.
That's fantastic. So, to that end, is it fair to say, and don't let me put words in your mouth, but like, I'm Carl, or I'm Zoog, and I get up in the morning and I go, all right, now it's time to light something on fire. Like, how does your mind work with that?
All right. Well, yeah, it is. I've got a list I've actually got like an Excel spreadsheet that helps me plan songs and get albums out.
Yes.
And they're in operation for 18 months. Like it's a 2-year to 18-month cycle. And even when I do Miss Ballistic or May May Graves or Lorelei Dreaming or Hardcore Pong, it's all this same process because I have to help the chaos become focused. Right. And the most important thing is focus. When you lose your focus, you lose everything. So yeah, I do get up in the morning. I have to go to the gym now because the gym's the best thing I think for my anxiety. Wow, I have anxiety. Who would have guessed?
I'm shocked, dude.
I know. And it's and when I'm at the gym, it's I'm thinking about what I'm doing the day. Although I've planned it out like in advance, I know what I'm doing every day. But it's and it's funny how you say I want to light something on fire. That's the funny thing about that is that heartbreak, negativity, depression, these things don't help. I have noticed from my personal thing, they do not help artistic output. And I think people think that just because I'm really depressed or I'm angry or whatever, there's going to be all this music. I found it definitely adds to the pile, but it's so important for you to be honing and focusing your mind so that you can process this and turn it into something grotesquely beautiful. And when you are off balance, off focus, you can't do that. Well, I can't do that. So I have to, I always have my devices and stuff with lyrical ideas and musical ideas. And I've got a track. I've got a track written here. Here, look at this track.
Oh! Yeah, all right. Space Couch exclusive. Screenshot that shit.
And this is just all kind of weird ideas. And it's funny, I'm going back to paper. I'm going back to writing stuff on paper. So
many people are. Do you like that process?
I do. Okay, yeah. I do. I really do. I like that because it's really tactile, and I know that like if I write a track idea roughly on the iPad, I can set it up on the sequencer. But there's just this thing that as soon as something goes into a computer, it becomes a part of the okay. Now we have to do this process.
Yeah.
As opposed when it's on paper, it's still this is the fun of creativity. I'm still having fun with this, and I'm digging in the dirt.
Well, you are getting it done though, because it's like you just put out that Black Pill Red Pill comp. That's how's that been going for you? The response has been really awesome. Thank you, everyone. And excuse me. All right. Now there's like diseases up here in space, so you might. I know.
Be careful where I spray it.
Yeah, it's Andromeda strain all over the place here.
The Shaya, one of our cats, is shedding right now because she's a long-haired Mancoon / bloody Persian. You remember Shaya?
The space cat.
This cat on the space couch.
Yes.
Actually, where she is right now, I think she's sleeping, but she's shedding.
Okay.
So that's up my. I don't get allergies, but it's just sometimes it's like up my face.
Right.
What was? Oh yeah, the
Black Pill Red
compilation. Pill. The compilation was really fun because it was an experiment to go. We got a bunch of bands from a bunch of different backgrounds, and each band's got a different audience. So what happens if we make a compilation, and each band pushes it at their audience really hard? So instead of me making a song and 10 people see it, and you doing a song and 10 people seeing it, and May doing a song and 10 people see it, etc., etc. If we all push this thing, 25 to 30, maybe 20 to 30 people are going to see it. So one of the things Black Pill Red Pill likes to do is experiment with how we can get our music for free. Advertise it and push it for free. Because, I found so much music through compilations and stuff. It's like space awesome.
It is space awesome. Like it's really great. It's free. Check out the Black Pill Red Pill compilation. And Nimi's on the cover, so can't go wrong.
Yeah. That was actually from one of the Miss Ballistic shoots they had.
Okay.
And
nice.
So I just went that one, and she went fine.
That's it. It's great. The gospels are on it, but it's still a good compilation. So stepping out of music land, or maybe not for just a second, because I'm excited about this. You got your green card.
And it's not green.
It's not green.
It's not green. It's aqua turquoise. I'm really pissed off. And I don't think this has got any like social security numbers on it, but there it is. That's my green card. Look at that.
Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Green cards are not green. You learned it
it's
here.
It's not green. It's not green. No green.
I remember, so a little bit of a backstory on that. You had worked, and I was a little bit involved with this process, like a smidge, with getting your O1 visa, which was a nightmare and a half.
It was actually easier than this, but go on.
Yes, just to bring us up to speed on your insane journey just to stay in the United States, the O1 visa is for super special performer type people. Clearly, ZOOG VON ROCK falls into that, and that was years and years of lawyers and money and money and money.
Yeah.
And now you are a green card owning. Was it fair to say citizen? I'm not sure what that makes.
No, I'm a temporary. I'm a resident.
Okay, you're a resident. All right.
This is for 2 years, and then we go back and have another interview, and then it's permanent.
So it doesn't.
And I'll tell you about the interview. Go on.
I was just gonna say. Well, I mean, you're setting me up. It's great. Like movies would have us believe that as soon as you get married or whatever, this green card manifests in your hand like magical manna from heaven, and that is not the case.
No, it's a lot of fucking around, and there's all this evidence that you need, and you have to do the interview. And it was funny. I'm really lucky that my lawyer is bloody awesome, and he's got me out of so many.
So Ryan Rasmussen from Chicago just said Space Ice is so about to show up. We're gonna.
Nice to hear from you, man.
It's great to hear
Ryan's
from you,
getting into the saxophone again.
That's amazing.
Right. It's keep blowing that horn, Ryan. But it was a difficult process, and we did it. Me and the wife did it.
Yeah.
And she was so patient and awesome. And it's funny that I think there's I get on really well with the nieces on her side.
Okay.
The niece, the nephew, and that was one of the things where they said, "Oh, okay, cool." And I get on famously with her mum, my mother-in-law, like really, really well. And they, I think the clincher was they have to go through your bank records, everything, bank statements, the whole lot. And I just gave him a bank statement, and I didn't realize this, but there was a receipt on it for a couch we bought.
Okay. Nice.
Nice. And he said, "Oh, you bought something from wherever we bought it." And we both went, "Yeah, oh yeah, we bought a love couch." And he looked at it. Okay, cool. And then that was it. I got it like I got the card like within a week of it, and my lawyer went, "Wow, man, that normally doesn't happen."
Wow. So you're in the U.S. because of a couch.
We are in. I know. Yes. All about the couch.
All about the couches. Well, I'm happy that you were able to share your LA couch with us here in space by way of Boston. Speaking of LA, you work partially, or whatever the phrase may be, for the LA Opera, which is cool.
Yeah. Hold on.
Yeah.
Give me a minute. I'm just opening a window.
Okay.
So hopefully the fine sounds of Hollywood will come flowing in the window.
Awesome. We'll get some glitz and glamour.
Yeah. No, but LA Opera is really fun, and cool. I'm working. I do audio for them, and I'm also working on the education department because I have a thing about educating young people, and LA Opera's got this thing where it's like We're going to get opera, and we're going to take it to kids that can't afford to see it.
What?
The show's going to be free. So we tour to high schools. It's like
Kick-ass, dude.
It's awesome. It's really cool. And we introduce kids to opera, and we do a 1-hour opera show for them. And it's awesome. It's like poorer high schools in LA.
Right.
And it's great. It's so cool because, kids don't learn music anymore.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And the other thing I do with them, which blows my mind, is every time they have an opera, which is about once a month, they're putting on like a big opera. They have these opera for educators sessions. And what that means is they actually give a lecture to teachers because they're helping certain teachers get forms of advanced standing so they can start teaching music and stuff like that. And they will go into the history of these operas. And the one that's being done right now is The Clemency of Titus by Mozart. It was one of his major last operas.
Okay.
And one guy will get up and go into depth about the music. Another guy will go up and go into depth about what was going on at the time. So in the 1780s, when this went down, there was French Revolution, and there was storms going on in the USA, and the whole world was shaking apart. But it was based on this Roman time of Emperor Titus. And then another person talks about Emperor Titus, the Roman times, and another person talks about the logistics and the sets, and it's kind of mind-blowing.
Awesome, dude.
There was a dude on last year, they were doing Don Carlo, forgive me, and they he was showing the similarities between Don Carlo and Star Wars.
Wow!
And basically the same thing. And one thing that was amazing about The Clemency of Titus is that they had it was for the Austrian king, I think, and it was going to be shown in Prague, and they had 2 months to write and put on an opera, which is crazy.
Wow.
And the first people they would hire in these operas was the castrati. That was a male who had been.
Yeah.
The next one was the soprano. And then the last one was the composer. So by the time they actually got to find the composer, Mozart went, "Oh, yes, I'll do it." And he basically had like not even a month to write, perform, to write and rehearse this opera. And they built sets. It's insane. Like even by modern standards, like this is crazy. But they went into the they talked about the castrati, and it's a really terrible, brutal thing, and it's good that it's no longer done, obviously. But they were talking about how the castrati were seen as these godlike men.
Really?
Because people think that castrati were these skinny little weedy guys. They weren't. They kept growing, and they had huge chests, long limbs, crazy muscular structure. And because of their lung size and their training, they could produce a note that would break glasses.
Wow.
They would also sing considerably higher than a tenor. So the problem you've got, and all of the big royal, the big operas for maybe about 50 to 100 years in that period, the big operas had castrati as the leading male. And the problem you've got today is that no male can sing those parts. So as a result, you get women to sing them. Wow. So that the lead character is usually a woman.
Right. Okay. Fascinating.
It's really amazing, and they were talking about. They had another one in regards to Clemency of Titus with genre, and the importance of genre and what genre actually means. Like even back then, genre was like the genre referred to music that had certain similarities. It was mainly a political similarity, instrumentation similarity, and it had an overbearing, an overwielding, an overarching social aspect to it. That hasn't changed. Like genre is still. It still hits those points. I'm going to sneeze.
Fascinating.
So that's LA Opera. It's kind of blowing my mind.
Oh, wow. Okay, so if you get a chance, check out LA Opera.
They stream. LA Opera's website's got links to where they stream their where they stream it.
Oh, they stream it.
They stream these lectures. Yeah, I help with recording, editing, and streaming as well.
Damn.
Fun.
So
Free education. Oh yeah.
if you if you're like me and need as much angel spit in your life as possible, there's not only the Patreon Miss Ballistic and the upcoming album, you can check out free lectures on history by way of opera done by ZOOG VON ROCK 2019, man. That's
I'm just recording them and editing them, but yeah, and the people who actually do them are like PhD crazy people from all over the world.
That's awesome, dude.
It's good fun. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting to get that amazing gem. I just I thought it might be fun to recount. You and I used to work together.
Oh my God. Yes.
You did, because you did sound and stagehand work and got me a gig doing stagehand work at the Athenaeum in Chicago. And I was wondering if I could tell the dolphin story.
Sure. Tell the dolphin story, and then I want to tell your shark story.
Okay. Well, tell me if I fuck this up, because I think I fucked up the ruse that will make sense in a second to the audience by mixing up dolphins and sharks. So like I'd been unemployed for a while because I got let go of my bullshit tech job, and Carl gets me a gig doing stagehand work, and I'm like, okay, finally I have a job. Like I'm gonna be able to like keep the lights on and eat. And the first thing, like, you run up to me like I'm showing up like on time, and Carl's like, okay, Brian, I told everybody that we used to like work on a fishing boat in Australia, and I got fucked by a dolphin. Like, I'm like, this is the first day, and I have to pretend that this happened, and I'm like, and they believed it. They believed it for like a long time until I retold the story.
Some of them still do. Some of them still do. Is that there was a diner across the road, and we'd all go to the diner, and they were the funniest bunch of guys. They were so funny. Good. And we would just talk mountains of bullshit. And they'd always ask the dumb questions of, oh, do they have blah, blah, blah in Australia?
Right.
And of course, yeah or no. And you do everything you could to lie to them. So I told them, the story was that I was working on a fishing trawler as a shark wrangler. And shark wranglers are a real thing on the back of a, tuna boat, because a tuna's worth a lot of money. And if a shark is in the net, someone has to get in there, grab the shark, and throw it out. And then I told them that while I was doing that, because it was caught in such a way that my swimsuit came off, and a dolphin and of course they just believed it, and I was just going, the dumbest thing, the most stupidly dumb offensive thing I think I've ever said. Really? And these guys are smart guys.
They're all really smart guys. And like at the Golden Corral, the Golden in like Lakeview, Chicago.
And then you turn up, and I just go with it, and I said, yeah, this is my mate Brian. We met on one of the fishing
trawler,
and I said, Brian, he had to grab a shark one day because sharks have got skins like sandpaper. It flicked and it broke his arm.
Yeah.
And Mexy's arm, and they went, oh, no way, man. And then you just go like this.
Yeah.
Which has got this bend in it.
Oh, I forgot we blended out a shark.
Right. That was good.
Genius. Because the way I sold it, because like I show up as like someone that actually like knows zoo, and they're like, did that really happen with the fishing trawler? And I went, oh, god damn it, not this story again. And like that sold a lot of people on it, and I forgot that the shark broke my arm.
The shark broke your arm.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic.
And it was good fun. And now the Athenaeum is haunted. And it's funny. God, I miss that place. And it was held together with Gaff and Love, and we did some great shows there. And it was haunted.
Dude,
it's haunted.
If you see a show at the Athenaeum in Chicago, it'll be a great show. I'm not going to say it's not. Please know that the stagehands are making that happen, and it's held together with like scotch tape and paper mache, and everyone there is pulling double duty, like with ropes, just to like
Well, it's like it's 100 years old, and it's such a fun old theater, and there's just something about it that Yeah, but there's
great.
ghost stories. Like I remember, whenever I was last out, you had to lock the back door and knock on it 3 times. Firstly, to make sure the door was closed, but also say goodnight to the ghosts. And more often or not, you'd be walking, 20, 30 feet away and you'd hear it knock back at you. There was the brick room downstairs under the stage that had all the cables and stuff in it. And I remember one of the dudes once told me that he didn't want to go in there because he was so scared. So he just threw the cable and came back out at him. Remember, like I saw this kind of like this haze up the top in the, in the pulley area.
Oh man.
A lot of stories.
I'm glad you're saying that because do you remember, like, it was one of the first musicals I did. It was like a dance thing, and there was a number where a guy had like a life-size doll, right? And he was dancing with this big floppy like rag doll, but it was like human size. And like I put this effing thing in that weird room, and somebody went to say like, go get it. And it was in the room, like across the hall in the dark, just like chilling in the corner. And like, okay, obviously somebody could have moved it, but there's only that one way down. Like they would have had to sneak behind me like Batman to like. So I was just like, all right, we're just gonna
it gave lifeless things life.
Well, Athenaeum stuff, good times, man. I wanted to delve a little bit also into you have some fans here on Facebook. Old ass retro gamer is a big fan. He saw you with KMFDM. We spent most of 2015 on the road together. That was a life-changing experience for me in so many ways. Like just about ideal as a tour as I would have want. Like I've done the Rockstar Bus tour where it's like, well, we're gonna party and drink every night, and it was torture. Just like 3 kind of quiet guys who do their job and show up on time and then like leave. Like it was amazing, and I would be wildly curious to if sort of put you on the spot a little bit and ask like if you had a favorite story or something from that year or that tour.
I think anything to do with Ralph in Albany.
Oh, Ralph.
I just all I know is that every time the tours they were pretty brutal.
Yeah.
But every time we got to Ralph, it was like, okay, it's all right. Ralph's here, and Ralph's going to look after us now.
Yes.
And I love Ralph. I love you for that.
Big shout.
I think I also remember we were driving through. I think it was that tour when we were driving through Texas, and I nearly got pulled out of the car because of my visa.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
Yeah, well, they have all of these checkpoints in Texas, like near the border.
Yeah.
And because I'm Australian, they love to pull people out and go, "Okay, you really here? Are you on the right visa?"
Right.
And that was terrifying. Yeah, that one was a fun tour because we just, we were a bunch of nerds in a car doing gigs, just chilling out, listening to podcasts, and it was really fun. I love that tour. That was so much fun.
Do you remember we were driving to? Let me step back a bit. One of the big things about that tour for me was like I'm so Midwest, it hurts. Like it's interesting to me you did that minimalistic photo shoot in Milwaukee, just because that was like the borders of my world for forever was Milwaukee. Like Chicago was Here Be Dragons, and like you get it in your head that I could never go to New York City, or I could never get to LA. It's like this impossible destination, and you can just drive there, man. Like you can do it. Like it was a revelation to me, just to see the landscape change, and then here you are.
The US is such an excellent country to drive.
Right.
Like I wish I drove. I'm probably going to try and get my license.
What?
My wife is looking at me terrified right now. I think I want to get my license just so I can drive. It's such a great country to drive. And like a memory of that tour I loved was when we went out to Salt Lake City.
I was just gonna go there.
Yeah, and we had to go through the several deserts.
Mm.
Like, and it was quite a Lord of the Rings thing as well.
Dude, good
and
call.
it was like, here is a desert where it's flat and there's nothing there.
Just
Now
nothing.
here's a desert where there's heaps of boulders.
Right.
Now and it's like, it was awesome.
Right.
And even if you go to Salt Lake City, then you go down through Colorado and they're from Utah, Colorado, and then into Las Vegas, Nevada. The way the desert changes, it's amazing. Like, it's not just, oh, here's desert. It's like, here's crazy desert with rocks in it that looks like the Roadrunner.
Right.
Here's desert that looks like Mars. Here's desert that just is bits of shrubby things. Here's desert with Joshua trees. You know, it's
so
stunning.
Cool. Like, you could film a Star Trek movie and say that each one of those was a different planet just on that drive.
Yeah.
Do you remember we were driving into Salt Lake City and there was a plane pulled over on the side of the road?
What the hell was that? It was really funny. It looked like it just landed there or something.
Or like some cops like climbed up on like one of those cool little buttes with like a loudspeaker and goes like, "You're flying it over the speed limit," and
it pulled him up.
There was like on the side of the road, like between two cop cars, was a plane. Like not like a 747, but like a one guy
One engine thing.
Yeah.
That was so weird. It happened. I don't know if you were on this tour, but I was going from Salt Lake down through Colorado and stuff, and on the side of the road was a bus, and it was on fire.
What?
It's going, and it was funny. As soon as I saw that, I just thought Matt was with me, and I went, "Do you remember that time?" And he said, "The plane," and I went, "The plane." What? Stuff and random shit on the road.
It's so like, it's feast or famine. It's like, this is my 18th Denny's in a row, or there's a burning bus on the side of the road.
Yeah. It's funny. I think Salt Lake is it's a great secret that America's trying to keep secret from everyone else.
1,000%. I just went back for that Dark Area Festival. Yeah, I played that Dark Area again.
Oh, how was it?
I was great. Like, got to see Alice, the same sound guy. It was really great. It was really great.
Excellent.
Area 51, man. Like, I'd heard a little bit about it, but I did not get the memo that Salt Lake City rocks.
Yeah, it's really interesting that it's got a really strong music scene. It's got the markets there are wild. It's got beer brewers and whiskey brewers, but Area 51 is the craziest fucking club. Like, it's like it harps back to the good old days of the early 2000s, and it's still going. And they've also got this massive drag club there as well, upstairs. It's like, it's great.
Although we played that drag club in Portland and had to share like the dressing room with the drag queens.
Yeah. Oh my god.
That was fucking great. That was great. Like I did more like runways when we played, but good stuff. Big ups to Portland. So because we got some wonderful new people. What's up, everybody, coming into the feed? We're talking a little bit today about the new Miss Ballistic, and you've just been murdering it on Patreon. Like, what's that experience been for you? Is it? Do you get stuff back? Like, is it a worthwhile time?
It's really worthwhile because I can talk to people. I talk to people on Patreon more than I do on Facebook, Instagram, and all that. Mm-hmm. Just because you got this really good connection with people, and I can like for example, today or yesterday, one of the guys on there named Locrian said about the new track that I put out the other day on the 28th of February. He said it kicks it at 2 minutes 15. And it's funny that I have this thing with the kick drum, that if it's a 4 on the floor, people are gonna love it. They're gonna love it. But if you do a funky kind of Manchester beat, which ANGELSPIT does a lot of, it's not as obviously thumping dance music. It's got this funk to it. And I've always tried to figure out what's the balance between that funk and the slam. Where does that balance sit? And I get to talk to people about that sort of stuff, and they help me kind of really hone this thing so that I can go, okay, I understand now what other people like to dance to as well. And also, like, there are some sounds that I really like that some people hate, and they're really they're ripping your head off with their unpleasant sounds. And I used this sound a while back, and someone said it sounds like rubbing up against wet foam. Oh, okay, that's not good. And I sort of went, okay, I won't use that sound anymore. And there's been other cases where people have sent me a recording they've made on their phone of a window that's broken, and they slam it shut, and old windows have got a spring in it. Okay. And the spring would help you open and close the window. And when they slam it shut, it would go screech, and then the spring would reverberate that sound. And it's the most amazing fucking sound I've ever heard. And then somebody else sent me this recording of a hand towel dispenser that had gone demonic. That when you turn the thing on, it went wah!
Nice.
And of course, they sampled these things and looped them and turned them into musical things. It's crazy. That sort of connectivity with people is really groovy. And it's another interesting thing that when you're in a band, I feel like you can really only explore this much. If you push it, like as far as how much variation you're going to put into the band, how much. I'm going to release an album now that sounds like Bootsy Collins.
All right.
Or I'm going to stick to hardcore, pure EBM.
Right.
Or I'm going to branch out and do something goth. When you break it down, EBM and goth are completely different, and so is industrial. Like, they're different.
Pretty far apart.
Yeah, but like I think a lot of us, I know it with you, and especially Gasoline and Vertebrate, you move between those elements.
Yeah.
And there's a question of how much am I allowed to, like when I did the thing with Synthwave, how much am I allowed to go in there and make kind of like almost sinister ambient music before people go, I don't really relate to this anymore. It's just a bit weird to me. Because when people want ANGELSPIT, when they walk into that restaurant called ANGELSPIT, there's certain hamburgers that they expect.
Right.
Sure, you can play with the menu a little tiny bit, but the cool thing about the Patreon is people will actually say, that's cool, push that harder.
Okay.
Not so much that stuff, pull that back a bit. And it's always something really interesting, because the more I can target this, the more I can help get the message through on this. And that's another thing as well, is with the lyrics, how far can I push the lyrics?
You mean just get like crazy and weird, like with what you're saying, or what do you mean push the lyrics?
Because ANGELSPIT stuff is like, it's really beat poet inspired, where you don't just say, I'm pissed off because I hate my job, although that's kind of every ANGELSPIT song ever. But what you do is you're going to present that in a more creative way. You might have this kind of wild beat poet thing where you talk about a tower of paper that's on fire, and that rhymed, but that was, I didn't mean and how you're this servant to it, and how it's depleting you or something. So you're going, if have you seen the movie Brazil?
Yeah.
You know how he would have his daydreams,
right?
That's ANGELSPIT lyrics. Is that's the world it is, and those daydreams are, that fantasy is the lyrics. Okay, so now I've established that. How much of just saying, like the last Patreon, the last song, the chorus was, be yourself or be someone else for someone else. And that's, excuse me, that's
No
really
problem.
foreign. That's really foreign to me because I don't normally just say blah.
Right.
I don't normally just say it. I'll put the pieces in place and I'll let you figure it out, or I'll let you interpret it. So that's, yeah, it's fun experimenting with that. Like, because
Okay.
I'm on my journey as a composer. I got a long way to go. I'm learning so much still.
Really?
Well, when you listen to other musicians, their choruses just say it. And my audience listens to them as well. So therefore, I guess I can say that as well. I don't know. But the bottom line is it's really fun to be able to build this stuff.
It is, yeah.
And get feedback instantly.
Cool.
It's really good. And have these people support you.
You don't think that compromises like the message you were initially going for? If somebody says like, "I want you to change X, Y, Z."
Yeah, well, I mean, like within elements, I will. Let's just say that I'm treating it like it's people are having an input into the actual writing process.
Okay.
And when people talk, I do listen. Like all the lyrics are always, when I go on tour, people talk to me, they become lyrics.
Interesting.
So warning, don't. If you talk to me, it's going to become lyrics. Each album has got this ongoing. This album's got a theme because I went out at that time.
Right.
That's what was influencing me. That's the words that came to me.
Well, so people should be on the lookout for the "Playing by the Side of the Road" remix or the Dolphin Fucker edit. Yeah.
Yeah. The Dolphin Fucker edit. It's a classic. But yeah. So having that influence, I really like that influence because
awesome.
I don't. Writing for me is a really solitary process. It's just me. And, if I had the opportunity to change that, I would probably experiment with changing that. So when people come along and say, here's some thoughts about it, it's like, okay, I'm going to listen.
Okay.
And plus, people are like, they're invested fans. So they've been listening to it for a long time. And so it's like, yeah, okay, they understand it. They're on the page.
That's fantastic. Okay, you're making me want to do it. Like,
bam.
That's one of the great things about you is you're open to all these new ideas and not just like it's right because I know it, man. Like I've always watching. I've had the opportunity to watch you work, and it's truly like watching a master. And a lot of what you've taught me, I'm resonating. Like we were working on Otter Time, and the chorus initially was "It's Otter Time." And you were just like, it's not slamming, and it needs that ANGELSPIT slam, and we kind of, and I was like, what about straight up? And you're like, yes, straight up, and like that happened because we were willing to try it, get out of the comfort zone a little bit.
And that was the other cool thing about Otter Time as well, is that you tried holding a note.
Yeah.
And no, it was really good. And it was really, it was still your vocals, but it was just sitting on this note, like what PJ Harvey does, or vocalists of that ilk, where you'll scream, but you'll yell, but you're just every now and then you're coming back to this note, and you're just kissing that note.
Couldn't have done it without your help, man. So like, what I want to. The spaceship's run out of gas a little bit. We're gonna have to dock for this episode of Space Couch. For the upcoming ANGELSPIT, describe that in colorful terms. What may we as the audience expect? Like if we're going into the ANGELSPIT, the aforementioned ANGELSPIT restaurant, how do we order this on the menu?
All right. Well, there's two things currently floating.
Okay.
One is on the Patreon. It's actually the last 12 tracks of the Patreon have been an experiment into synthwave.
Okay.
So it's been, and it's interesting. Like I said, I was really inspired by John Fox on this, and John Fox had the idea of a man, a woman, and a city. And all of the songs on that album was a man, a woman, and a city. So I went, I love that. I'm going to do a man, a woman, a city. It's 2 a.m. and a crime. They're involved in a crime, and that crime has gone wrong.
Oh, it's so.
And,
is there a narrative on this album?
Yeah.
Ah,
narrative, and it's set in the future, and they're all LA. And it's a lot of them are sort of going, okay, well, the heist has gone wrong.
Nice.
Get out of here. So they've all got that, because the thing about as I mentioned, the synthwave that I call synthwave, it's got that urgency to it, and I've got to get out of here vibe.
Oh, cool.
So I'm probably going to release them as an album really soon.
Awesome.
Like maybe 3 months or something. Might work on the mixes a little bit, get them mastered properly, and then send them out.
Awesome.
But if you get on the Patreon now, if you jump on the Patreon, you can hear everything.
Awesome. Yeah, it's really great.
And the one at the moment is the current experimentation is slamming hard, faster, darker motherfucker music, and it's lyrically brash, and there's guitars. There's a lot, because I stopped using guitars for a few albums, but these ones are, all the songs have got guitars in them, and they're working with the synths, and the synths are all like kind of big crazy things.
I also want to thank you for that. I also want to throw in, I would be remiss if I did not on Space Couch plug the last Hardcore Pong Super Jam. Space Force Golf Course is available now. That's Carl and I knocking it out the park. When last we spoke, I owe you a video for Space Force, and we just made it, man. So this will be this is the video for Space Force Golf Course.
Yeah.
And in the immediate term, and also the very near future, check out Miss Ballistic. Where should people go for that?
MissBallistic.com will have it all. Also, Miss Ballistic official Facebook, but MissBallistic.bandcamp. That's where it's all at. But if you go to MissBallistic.com, you'll get it all from there.
Oh, man, this has been great. It's always like, we could go on for another 3 hours, but we'll have to have you back on the couch. Carl, it's been great. I'm going to punch the end credits now, okay?
Rock, bless you. Au revoir.
Space Couch out.
Ow.
There we go.
So we're not live anymore.
No, I mean, people can still hear us because sometimes it's fun when we talk over the end credits. Yeah. So it's just it's us going, but this has been a pretty wonderful episode, and we are.